Mike Minton and I are set up next to a lake. There's a cedar thicket dead in front of him, the direction he's looking at, and to my right, which where I'm at would be behind me at this point, is this. It's more like a marsh area. There's dry areas out in there that deer like to bed. And this is the cedar thicket that's we're facing, and we expect these deer to either walk the lakeside edge coming out of the cedar thicket or come in between the cedar thicket and the marsh. And then when they do that, they're probably going to be heading out into this wide open bottom. As they cut across this wide open bottom, as a lot of mature bucks do, and I've seen it done in the past, is they have the wind to their back. So this is basically our setup for the morning hunt. As you can see, Mike's pretty well tucked up in there pretty good. It'd be awful hard for a buck to detect him in that brush. Might be a little difficult for him to get a shot out, but he's got some shooting lanes cleared out where he says he can make a good 10-15 yard shot both directions. Hopefully we'll get one. There he is, guys. Mike Minton, the big buck killer. Well, today's November the 3rd. Mike and I come in here, set up in the corner of the lake, between a marsh and a lake, hoping these deer would funnel through here, cruising, looking for does. We run a couple of deer off coming in, got them up out of their bed, and they snorted a couple of times. We went ahead and got set up in the stand, and after it got good daylight, did a little bit of a calling sequence. There was actually a deer. I really don't know if it was a buck or a doe that I saw, but I saw a tail up in the air in this thicket walking, and it was coming from my direction. I thought I might get to see what it was, maybe get it on video, possibly get a shot, and then later, about 5 minutes afterwards, Mike had done the can call 2 or 3 times, and it was definitely a buck. I heard him clicking, making that grunt clicking noise, and he doing it real soft, real low. He did it about 5 or 6 times, and then he just stopped. And I didn't think he was going to come out after that, because I'm figuring if he's listening to a doe bleed out here and he's clicking in there, he's trying to get her to come to him. But we ain't seen nothing outside of that. That was the biggest, most excitement we've had so far. Wind's pretty much in our favor. Not in his favor as much as it is mine, but we're fixing to get down and get on out of here. May come back this evening and set up a little different. Wish us luck. November 3rd for my afternoon hunt. Deer is real thick down there in this open bottom behind me. My wind's blowing out into that open bottom. Deer come out of that corner right there, and they cut across at an angle, and they come up and they hit this little high wall here, like a little ridge top, and they run this ridge top. I got this cedar tree right here blocking everything until they get right here. When they get right here, I've got a shot at them. That trail goes on up. There's a trail that comes out of that corner over there around that cedar tree and that thick stuff, and it comes back and angles right back up through here. So I've got a shot at 2 trails at this angle. Then I've got a trail coming off that ridge. If you look up in there, looks like perfect bed habitat, old high grass and just nastiness all up on that ridge. Well, there's a pretty good little gap right there coming down, and then it angles into this open bottom, and they cut across going to that thicket behind me. So I've got 3 trails. That trail actually splits and goes right down the top here. So you got 1, 2, 3 good trails. That's going to increase my odds of possibly getting a shot on a deer. And my wind is blowing out across into that lake. That's the direction the wind's blowing, across this wide open bottom into that lake. So if the wind cooperates, everything works good, I'm in good shape. Well, me, Mike, and Ralph should have these deer surrounded this evening. Hopefully one of us will get a shot at a mature buck. Meanwhile, I'll just watch the squirrels. But just like clockwork, this doe's coming right down the top of that little high wall I was talking about, headed straight up to the ridge on top for the cedar thicket. The only problem is, big boy ain't following along behind her like he's supposed to. These deer are not reading the script very well. We'll have to have a talk with these deer for some reason or another. They just don't want to cooperate. So it's dark now and our hunt is over, and Ralph calls Mike on the cell phone, says he shot at a deer, a nice buck, and doesn't know if he hit it or not. So Mike's talking to him on the cell phone, saying, well, get down, get your light, go look for your arrow, see if you can find blood, call us back, we'll come help you look for it. While this is going on, there's a 10-point, huge, probably 130 class buck walking up. He's 10-15 yards between me and Mike, staring at Mike, watching Mike talk on his cell phone. Mike doesn't have a clue the buck's standing there. It's too dark for me to shoot. All I can do is just laugh. The buck takes off running. Mike turns around. What was that? Folks, you can't make these stories up.